Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello. I'm sorry, I was distracted by the side view.
Oh, I'm like, wait. I'm here. Come on.
I'm here. I'm sorry, I was distracted.
Anyway, we're going to talk about Disney and Mulan and that situation. That controversial situation where they filmed parts of Mulan near an alleged concentration camp, a re-education camp in China. And they gave a huge shout out to the CCP parties involved in the credits.
Well, they tried to call them something different, so they tried to hide it.
They tried to hide it, yeah. And look, a company like Disney, you can't hide it. But Disney said that the reason that they did this was for authenticity. They wanted Mulan to be an authentic Chinese movie for Chinese audiences in China. And that's so funny because China really didn't like it either.
No, they didn't go.
So we're going to talk about that before we get into it. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're at almost 150,000 subs. Thank you for the support. So this is coming from the post-millennial. Disney says authenticity drove decision to film Mulan in region accused of throwing Muslims in concentration camps. Right. It's okay, guys, because we need it to be authentic. Now, as I understand it, a lot of the film was actually filmed in New Zealand.
Right.
But to get that minute and a half or whatever that they had in China, they couldn't use, digital technology. They had to.
That's what I don't understand. If it was filmed someplace else, mostly anyway, why couldn't they just film it someplace else?
Yeah, right. So Disney is doubling down on its decision. Dismal Disney is doubling down on its decision to film its live-action Mulan reboot in an area of China that has widely been accused of putting Muslims in concentration camps. White House Secretary Advisor Robert O'Brien has accused China of running concentration camps for, I think it's Uyghur Muslims in Xinjiang. The administration is considering declaring the activities in the area a genocide.
Yikes.
After facing criticism for not only choosing to film in the region, but also using the credits of the film to thank the Chinese Communist Party and other groups accused of perpetuating this atrocity, Disney is now saying it had to film there in order to ensure authenticity.
No, they didn't. It probably was, frankly, an agreement they had with the CCP to get the CCP money.
Yes. And I think that this could potentially, and we'll talk about that. I mean, I think their financial situation in this controversy could eventually lead to them, I guess, outsourcing Hong Kong Disney and Shanghai Disney just to kind of wipe their hands of it. But here we go. This is what Disney said.
Okay.
There are regulations that must be followed by all foreign film production companies wanting to operate in China. These companies are not allowed to operate independently and must partner with a Chinese production company, which is responsible for securing all film permits, Disney said to Business Week. This is Sean Bailey. Bailey was responding to a letter. Bailey was responding to a letter. It was a response to an inquiry sent by members of British Parliament asking why Disney would even operate in an area guilty of such human rights abuses. The decision to film in each of these locations was made by the film's producers to film in the interest of authenticity and in no way influenced or dictated by state or local Chinese officials.
Wait, go back up. Let me recap this. Okay, go back up a little more. Let me recap this. There are regulations that must be followed by all foreign film production companies wanting to operate in China. You can't operate independently. You have to partner with the Chinese production company, and they're the ones that secure all the film permits. But the decision was not made by the Chinese officials. It was made by the film producers, which you just got done saying cannot operate independently, and they have to go through the Chinese studios.
There we go.
So I'm like, yeah. So basically it sounds to me like if you want to film in China, you want to use Chinese money, you want to use all these film companies, you want to use our country in any way, then you have to give us the money and you have to put so much of the film in China.
Right. Disney has not been consistent in recent years as to whether principle outweighs artistic necessity. In 2019, Disney's then CEO Bob Iger said it would be very difficult to film in the U.S. state of Georgia after the state implemented a heartbeat bill outlawing abortion.
He did say that.
I think many people who work for us would not want to work there, and we will have to heed their wishes in that regard.
Right. Oh, imagine that. You could have ended with Disney has not been consistent, period. Yes. So here you go. It's a double standard. Disney says we're not going to have people work in a place that is against abortion. But it's completely okay to go work near concentration camps where Muslim people and re-educated Chinese people are.
Yeah.
Because, like, they always are throwing that around. Like, you don't care about what happens to the babies after they grow up.
So then the irony in all of this is that all of this trouble, all of this bad PR, all of this hundreds of millions of dollars on what was effectively a shitty reboot, and the Chinese didn't even like it.
Right. It did very bad in China. It did do very bad at all.
They did not like the movie because they got a better version of Mulan, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, or whatever. Not the Disney-fied, super-powered, girl power Mulan.
No, they were mad because they said that the movie fundamentally did not understand the Chinese culture.
But I thought for authenticity's sake, you needed to film near the concentration camp.
Right.
Does
anybody else see all the double standards here? We're like on quadruple standards at this point.
We're gonna peel back the layers here, because Disney is not the company you think they are. They have a very good marketing team.
At the end of the day, they're a company. They're a corporation. They don't care.
They don't care. But they're getting all kinds of heat for this. I know that there have been a lot of senators coming out and being like, why, Disney, did you have to do? How close to the CCP are you? Now, nobody can fault Disney for wanting some Chinese money.
Right. A lot of Hollywood studios do it, enough so that it's brought up questions about the Department of Security tying into films and working with China.
Yeah, massive movie-going audience, lots of money to be made, but what I guess their concern is, how far are you willing to go?
Right, that's the question.
To chase that money. And I guess my personal feeling on it is, America makes its movies, and if China likes those movies too, that's fantastic. That's more money for us. But I don't think that we should be, beholden to what the Chinese audiences are looking for, what the CCP in particular, not the average Chinese person, but the CCP, what the CCP is looking for. And if they don't like our movie, well, then it doesn't play in China,
Well, that's kind of what happened. They kind of ordered the media not to cover it, not to promote it.
Yeah.
So that it wasn't, people didn't, and then people that did go didn't like it. Disney just keeps screwing up right and left. And then they turned around and made it that Disney Plus subscribers had to pay $30 to get to see it, since they weren't putting it in theaters. And then, you can buy it, but you only get to keep it as long as you keep your Disney Plus subscription. And then they turned around a month later and then released it. Well, it hasn't been released yet, but they're releasing it on Amazon Prime Video and Vudu and, Fandango, now or whatever it is. They're releasing it on those so you can buy it for the same price and not have to keep paying a subscription service to Disney. Yeah. It's like they're just pissing everybody off the whole way around.
That's just it. And this is, part of this too. I gotta wonder if this wasn't part of the reason that they ducked out on that investor day too, because this is a huge controversy. A lot of people very, very upset about this. I mean, again, you've got, two-faced Disney being like, let's do all these things for diversity and inclusion on one hand, and then on the other hand, they're like, but hey, you know what? To be authentic, let's film this movie near a concentration.
Well, I was actually on WDW News Today too. They pointed out that all of a sudden Splash Mountain, the one that they're tearing down because it's going to be, it's bad. And it's culturally insensitive. But even though it's supposed to be coming down, they fixed the one projection sequence where they're saying, oh, there's Brer Rabbit yonder, and it wasn't working. Mm-hmm. And now it's all working again. It looks like it's in high def now too.
Because there's a rumor, and again, this is coming from WDW Pro, who is now writing for Pirates and Princesses. By the way, piratesandprincesses.net, legit, honest, unfiltered Disney opinions over there. He said that he was hearing, I think, that Disneyland was going to go forward with their change to Splash Mountain, but Disney Worlds might actually get another couple years because it's cost prohibitive. Plus, California is going to squawk more about it than Florida. Let's be honest.
That was all before the long, delayed reopening and all that.
Right.
Too. So I don't know what's going to change and what's not. But they keep doubling down that they're taking Splash Mountain out, and then why fix it?
All they got to do. This is what's going to save their ass and so make it. All they got to do is be like, yeah, we ran out of money. Sorry, we ran out of money. But I mean, the Splash Mountain announcement was so like they just threw it out there.
That was a pandering because I mean, they at the end of the day they don't really care.
No.
They like to pretend like they do.
Whatever.
Well, you know what they care about? Money. When it doesn't work out financially, then they'll care.
Right. So I mean, yeah, this is getting, it's making the rounds. Even, outside of news or political sites, Slash Film was covering it just a couple weeks ago. Now, the interesting thing about all of this, just the irony in all of this, is good old Walt Disney. Good old Uncle Walt. He hated communists.
He did.
He absolutely hated communists. He hated socialists. In fact, he testified before the House of Un-American Activities. Good old Uncle Walt. He was accusing his own animators of being communists, and he was, he was pissed, as I understand it, because they were trying to unionize and they were going to run him out of business. But he also was legitimately concerned about the influence in Hollywood that socialists had. And here we are with Disney current year.
What do you say here we are current year?
Just very ironic, isn't it, that Disney is the one being investigated now for having, for being too chummy with communists.
That's true. For as much as they're like, they were saying about like we have to get rid of like the Grand Floridian Orchestra, whatever that was called. They had to get rid of them because Disney's vision was to always be changing and moving. I'm like, well, you haven't been really caring about Disney's vision so far. So why does it matter now? I mean, I'm not saying who's right or wrong here as far as this communism thing and all that, but I'm just saying with China, there's definitely something going on here.
Yeah, and the government, both sides of the aisle are starting to look into it now.
Yeah, they should.
They're like, they're way too chummy with the CCP. And, I know the article that Pro did the other day that I covered yesterday, depending on who gets elected could depend on what happens with Disney. I mean, Hollywood in general, if, Trump gets reelected, we might be looking at a Cold War with China, and they might have to cool their heels a little bit and be like, we cannot cater to the CCP anymore because, they're not going to take. Well,
there was already some questionable things going on anyway with the Department of Defense that they were like, I guess, working with movie studios on certain films, and now if they're taking money from China, they're not going to let you work with them on certain things because there's some questions about stuff being leaked and things like that. So yeah, it's a big old mess. So
yeah. So I think we're going to look at again, to go back to the point yesterday, we're going to be looking at very, very different Disney post-pandemic, and this might be a Disney that is not dependent on foreign interests anymore, out of either legal action or just saving their own necks.
Just make good movies and focus on making movies that are good. And if they want them, like you said, they want them in China, they want them in China. If they don't, they don't. Problem solved.
Simple as that. All right. So we're going to wrap it up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.
Bye.